I'm Elijah, and about a year ago, I re-reviewed the first Sonic game. With all its trial and error gameplay, wonky mechanics, lack of sympathy, it's weird how it's my favorite mascot had it start like this, and the fans loved me for talking shit about it.
Any last words?
Here.
The second game started the franchise.
Oh wait, wrong one. This one.
Chicken strips are boneless wings?
Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa!
Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on Sega Genesis did something that other games in the series didn't do. Start the franchise, giving the Genesis a new memorable mascot, a rival for Nintendo's Mario, a game that'll rot on many people's shelves for the foreseeable future. As much as the Sonic fan that I say I am, I made it abundantly clear before that the game really isn't that much fun for me to replay most of the time. Only if I'm up to it, I'll play Green Hill Zone, Spring Yard Zone, Starlight Zone, and then I'll just lie about that. But who cares? At this point, the damage is done. I'm already a Sonic fan enough as it is. I'll play the game as much times as I can, and almost buy it on any platform it releases on. But in speaking of terms, in the 1990s, it was a phenomenal game that sold really well. And then the people by that point asked, what was next? And then Sega thought, what better way to follow up on Sonic 1 than with a sequel called Sonic 2? Which kind of sounds crazy to do that. I mean, they could have done it if it was 1992. Holy shit, they actually did that. Now, before we get into the game, how about we get into the game's development? As most development stories get really weird, and this one's the exception. The game wasn't made in-house in Sega of Japan, but actually at a branch of Sega of America called the Sega Technical Institute, or STI for short. Sonic creator Yuji Naka was having some spats with Sega of Japan, who was then contacted by Mark Cerny, who was working with STI at the time. He actually kind of founded it, but is now known for his work with Sony, persuaded him to work on Sonic 2 with STI. So to reiterate this, Yuji Naka left Sega to go work for Sega. But Yuji Naka was also generous enough to bring a couple of developers with him, where the development team would be comprised of half Japanese and half American. Which, keep in mind, this was during an era where most Americans were saying mistranslations, cultural differences, and whatever people thought about were present behind the scenes. This, in terms of poor communication, caused them to cut a couple of zones that didn't make it into the final game or was made into the game's code, but never finished. One famous example would have to be Hidden Palace Zone, which is accessed via cheat devices, which is just an unfinished, unbeatable, incomprehensible glitch. But at least Hidden Palace Zone gets to live on until Sonic 3. Until that was breaking until Christian Whitehead ported Sonic 2 onto phones, and Sonic Origins also doing the same. Some other examples of this would be Wood Zone, Dust Hill Zone, and Genocide City Zone. Make do with that information, people. And again, like in Sonic 1, most of these concepts would later go on to be their own levels or own concepts for other Sonic games. But back to Sonic 2. Even after all the problems in development, the game was slated to be released in November 24th in 1992 in North America and in Europe. Now, a date like that wouldn't be all that special, except they kind of made it into a whole event, where it being on a Tuesday and calling it Sonic Tuesday. This in turn caused many game companies in the future to follow a specific pattern to release games on a specific date. Except for Japan, which got the game 2 days in advance.
You win this round, Sega.
Well, I can now talk about the game, or my experience with it. When I first got my phone, I downloaded Sonic 1 but never got past Marble Zone. I then saw that Sonic 2 was up for free download, so I downloaded that even though I haven't finished the first one. And I didn't even finish that one either. I guess me never finishing a Sonic game just kind of shows how much of a pussy I can be. Well then, let's just see if I can redeem myself by playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The game opens the same as before, except we just have more of this. Also, we do have the addition of a 2. It is Sonic 2 after all. Plus there is also a different background and a new face to harass. Miles Per Hour, also known as Tails, is the new face on the block. He has 2 tails to fly, which you should probably know by now because why did I say that? Actually, he can fly in the game, and you can play as him, but you don't get the ability to fly. And to be honest, really Tails doesn't really add that much to the game, unless you want to start counting every broken item in your house. Though to be fair, he can kill some enemies and gather rings. Plus the overall experience makes it feel like you're doing it with a friend. Actually, you can do it with a real one. Just plug in your controller into a second controller port and then your friend can play it, albeit with infinite lives. He can't fly, he can't go as fast as you, and if Sonic dies, it goes dark. But there is 2-player competition mode, and I mean, it kind of does make the special stages feel a little more manageable. But if you're anything like me, you're playing by yourself.
It's okay, who needs friends anyways?
The story is the same as before. You play as Sonic as you run and jump through levels to the end of a stage, save animals, and defeat Dr. Robotnik, with the now exception of stopping the Death Egg. Springs and loop-de-loops galore, item boxes with extra lives, shields, or invincibility sparkles. You also get to play 2 acts instead of 3, which actually makes the level feel less like a drag and a bit more faster. And the game is just more faster than it was before, and that's partially due to a new move in the game, the spin dash. You hold the down arrow, you press one of the buttons, which you can actually hold, but where's the fun in that if you can't tell your thumbs fuck you, and off you go. Not only does it make you more faster in the game, but it also destroys enemies a lot faster in your path, other than just jumping on them. Also, it feels more natural, and that's another thing that the game does. It made Sonic way more faster to the point that you kinda expect this type of speed in other games. Sure, he was fast enough in the first game, but there was an emphasis on fast enough. You mostly had to run back and then use that momentum to build up speed. Here, the level design took a complete overhaul with the addition of springs, downhill slopes, and loop-de-loops, and then looked at Sonic as a character and just went, speed. Couple that with a spin dash, and then you just made a game where it just obliterates the hell out of Sonic. He moves so fast that the screen can't even keep up with him. But now that begs the question, does any of these changes ultimately make the game better? Does it topple everything that Sonic 1 did? Am I actively holding these questions as hostages because you already know at this point?
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 does things better than Sonic the Hedgehog 1, that Sonic the Hedgehog 1 does nothing compared to this game that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 offers, other than... The game starts things off at Emerald Hill Zone. It's like Green Hill Zone, except somebody's flexing on us with their 120 pack of Crayolas. You remember that reaction you had about seeing that in kindergarten? Yeah, that applies here.
Son of a bitch.
Enough speed, plenty of rings for checkpoints, which is something I forgot to mention, so I'll mention it here. To get into a special stage in Sonic 1, you had to collect 50 or more rings to the end of a level and then jump into a giant ring for this. However, in Sonic 2, if you collect 50 or more rings and find a checkpoint, you see the sparkles go up, jump in, and then... Welcome to a whole lot of... Damn it! Sonic 1 special stage, yeah, it's manageable, but it's not really that good. Sonic 2, it's a huge improvement, but that doesn't mean it's not good, nor is it bad. The whole pseudo 3D thing doesn't help me judge distance that much. Plus, you may never know in which direction the rings are going to be facing. And Tails, he has this kind of delayed jump where I gotta jump earlier so that he can follow. And with the poor judge of distance that I have, I would then crash into spikes and then Tails would follow suit. Tails, as a fan, you gotta shape up, cause this is some damn tomfoolery. But alas, I egged on and collected the Chaos Emeralds. Which, speaking of, where in the first game if you collect all 6, you get the best possible ending that you can just Google or watch on YouTube. But here in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where there are now 7 Chaos Emeralds, if you collect all of them, you get to transform into Super Sonic, a being of pure invincibility. Just as long as you have 50 or more rings, or don't get crushed, or drown, or fall in a pit. I think that should be enough, so let's continue. Next up is Chemical Plant Zone, which holds the same vein of nostalgia as Green Hills, and it also shares the same life support that we all want to pull. And with time, I have now gotten past that one part of Chemical Plant that I couldn't get past as a child. Aquatic Ruin Zone, it's another water level, and I already know how much I feel about water levels in Sonic games. But I mean, it's a bit faster. I've heard some skilled players can go through the level without touching water, and it made me know my worth. Casino Night Zone is next, and it's a casino level. I don't think this is what casinos actually look like. The closest thing I've ever done to a casino is Luigi's Poker on the DS, or a few arcades I've been to. But for the level itself, there's really not that much. I mean, the level itself kind of does repeat, with these bumper thingies, these weird thingies, the slot machine, the pinball stuff. Next, Hilltop Zone. It's fine and calm. It's a nice aftertaste after Casino Night, but damn it, the lava. Mystic Cave Zone. Damn it, damn it. Oh wait, I think I got it. Fuck. May I also remind you that somebody got paid to put a bottomless spike pit. It hurts more when you're supersonic. Oil Ocean. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. Metropolis is next, and most questions I have in life aren't that serious, but this is an exception. Why does this level have 3 acts? And the thing is, it's not even the last zone in the game. This is basically all the difficulty and bullshit of the first game all condensed down into one stage. Like, you try to go fast, there's an enemy right there. You try to make a jump, something kills you. Going up these gear lift thingies, these starfish like to shoot out at you, and other times they don't. Also, why does this one have spikes and like a few seconds later, the other one doesn't? When it comes to developing games, I know nothing of the sort, but I do know that you should make it easier for the first time and then put in the challenge later when the players get comfortable. Game companies, listen to boy on the internet, he speaks the truth. Next up is Sky Chase Zone, where you fly in Sonic's plane by controlling Sonic. Well, at least now I know that high school physics was bullshit. There's really nothing that inherently bad, it's just kind of manageable, but I still find it weird. Wing Fortress Zone, and my anxiety levels have never been this high up. Well, not really. Ever been to a college level class? But anyways, one wrong step and it could be your last. In other words, I cannot find the safest route to go on. Also, I can never know that you can make these jumps. Also, you should watch out for booby traps. But anyways, I just finished that, and then we have the last zone, Death Egg. And we got no rings. This date now has a lot more meaning behind it. You then have to fight this silvery robotic Sonic and hope for the best. And then, it's egg time. The boss battles in the game are weird, not in the sense that they don't make sense, which, I mean, none of them really do make sense. I'm just mostly talking about the hit detection, that's the problem. It feels like when I hit him, it tells me I didn't. And when I do hit him, I just end up dying. Especially the Metropolis Zone boss fight. I freaking hate it. But then we get back to here on the Death Egg. And when I originally played the game, I decided to try and beat it wholesomely, but then I just kept dying over and over and over again. And then I remembered, I'm not impressing anybody, so why don't I just cheat at it? So what I did is I put in the debug mode, get all the emeralds, and then just play it like that. But that was me before, and this is me now. Now can I beat this thing fully without no remorse? I did. And it kind of does feel a lot better, so cut the credits. And I feel like that does it for now. So, is it still a good game? Is it better than Sonic 1 via playability? Am I still doing the same thing as before?
Yes.
Well, the game does things similarly to Sonic 1, with the patented Sonic difficulty, lazy trial and error gameplay, wonky enemy and hazard placements, and no saves. How come they never still put in a save thing? I mean, it's 1992 by that point, they probably had saves already. But the best things in the game really hold the game all together. The fast and addictive gameplay, the worlds with their vibrant colors, the soundtrack, which is just as good as Sonic 1, albeit the same, and Sonic 1 kinda is better. I mean, can you blame me? The first one had Spring Yard Zone. The box art I always loved. It's one of the best box arts ever conceived by man, with it also being referenced in the Sonic 2 movie poster. The damn commercials for it, I always liked seeing those as a child. In the end, while Sonic 1 is a good game, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a good Sonic game. Not my favorite, but still a good one.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the best Sonic game of the classic era, as it's the only STI game that they could have made, as it was the only STI that came out from the Sonic series. Right? To be honest, it's not that bad.